Good morning and happy Mother's Day. Welcome to Emerson. A heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you, and a special greeting to mothers watching. Today is your day, and we hope it's a very happy one. My name is Jeffrey Jacoby. I'm a member of the worship team as well as a member of the Emerson Choir. A special welcome to those of you who may be joining us for the first time here watching us on our streaming YouTube channel. We're very glad to have you here. And thanks also to any Emerson people who may have been gone for a while and you're just checking back in with us to see what's going on now. We're glad to have you back. So thank you for joining us. We hope you are nourished in heart and mind by our worship today. We are a non-creedal congregation and welcome a wide variety of theological and spiritual beliefs. We honor the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person. So no matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe, or who you love, you are welcome here. All are warmly invited to join us for second hour activities starting at 11:15. Check your order of service for more information. You can see the order of service on our homepage, emersonuu.org. And right on the main page, you will see order of service. Just click there, and you'll see links to all of our second hour activities. There are activity choices for children, youth, and adults. And this is a great time to explore meaningful topics and to get to know each other. The order of service will also keep you up to date on any important announcements about Emerson and things that are going on. Now, in spirit of beloved community, please take a moment to acknowledge those around you, especially if you were lucky enough to be joined watching with your mother today.
Hope is important because it can make the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. By Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thank you, Anton. Thank you for lighting our chalice. It's so wonderful to see our youth back in our service again. Well, good morning to all and a special welcome to this Mother's Day service. My name is Reverend Deborah Bennett, and it is my joy to be with you here this morning and to serve this beautiful, beloved community. I hope that whatever life brought to you this week, that you are able now to take some time to breathe, to relax, and to enjoy the spirit of love and community that we will share together. As a special note, please join us today at 11 o'clock as our fun continues, and we will have our very first ever virtual open mic. It happens at 11 o'clock on Zoom. The link is in the order of service, and all are welcome to come, whether you're come to sing a song, tell a poem, share a story, or just come to join in community and support others. So we hope you join us then. I opened this morning with these words from Katie Lee Crane, and it's a deeper look at this tradition called Mother's Day. May means Mother's Day. I'm going to trust Hallmark and daddies and six-year-olds and grown-up kids who are mommies themselves to honor the mothers among us as they deserve to be honored. With brass bands, flags flying, breakfast in bed, and the cleanup afterwards. I wish for those mothers a memorable day full of love and laughter. Sadly, I don't trust Hallmark to remember the feelings of the women who don't fit Mother's Day in quite the same wonderful way. There are no cards on the racks for the women who gave up children for adoption, never to see them again. There are no cards for the women who faced the painful and difficult choice to end a pregnancy. There are no cards for women who desperately want to conceive and bear children, but who cannot. No cards for women who have lost children of any age, or for women whose children have abandoned them in anger. There is little consolation for them on a day so full of motherhood and apple pie. Every year when Mother's Day rolls around, I wish there was just a little less hype about traditional motherhood and a little more acknowledgement of the not-so-traditional mothers in our midst. People who come in all colors, shapes, sizes, genders, and ages. And more than anything, I wish there was a lot more empathy for those who suffer because mothers are being honored and they don't fit in quite the same wonderful ways. So let us honor them all on this day. Women who conceived, women who bore, women who reared, women who lost, women who let go, women who made difficult choices, and people of all genders who mother. Happy day. May each of you know your worth to all of us. Thank you for that. And I invite you now to join in the celebration of motherhood. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join us in our opening hymn. The words will be on the screen.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. My name is Beth Klein, and I serve Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation as your Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth. I'm also a member of Emerson's Pastoral Care Team. You know, our Pastoral Care Team members are available as listening ears to support you, especially during these challenging times. You can contact us at our email address, pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. At this time in our service every Sunday, we pause to share the personal joys and sorrows of our Emerson community. Now, as I share those joys and sorrows, usually I light a candle, but I had to pre-light them today because I just couldn't keep them lit. They kept blowing out. Each Sunday, we also light our vigil bowl. So I have the vigil bowl lit here, and its light represents the light of hope for peaceful resolution to all conflicts on our planet. And it honors all the dedicated people who serve us, especially those right now on the front line of the COVID-19 virus battle. Today, I share these joys and sorrows with you. First of all, a sad note from Joe Tomachek. His brother-in-law, Sadir Tawari, passed away this week on Tuesday morning. Please keep Stefania, his wife, and Joe's sister in your thoughts and prayers. And then there's a sorrow from my own family, that my mother-in-law, Jan Klein, has been in the intensive care unit in our hometown hospital in Nebraska since this past Sunday. She has several serious infections, and we feel like she's in good care. We're hoping she'll be moved out of the ICU today, but she's not out of the woods yet. Please keep Grandma Jan in your thoughts and prayers. We know that there are also joys and sorrows left unspoken today. As I think about these candles behind us, please feel free to speak aloud the name of anyone you're holding closely in your heart this morning. Let us all send our heartfelt intentions to all people everywhere by offering the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. The words will be projected here and also printed in your order of service. Please join me. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May they be well in body, heart, and mind. May they be free from harm and suffering. May they be at peace. Blessed be. Well, it's my joy today to be able to share a story for all ages with you. And the story I wanted to share is from one of the curricula that we use in Sunday school called Creating Home. It's part of the Tapestry of Faith series from the UU Association. And they took a story that was written by Peter Parnell and Justin Richardson and made it just into a narrative. And it's lovely. I hope you enjoy it. So it is a true story, by the way. At the Central Park Zoo in New York City, there were two penguins, one named Roy and one named Silo, and they absolutely adored each other. It was, it's pretty typical for penguins to find a partner, a mate, one other penguin who is very, very special to them. Usually it's a female penguin and a male penguin that like each other and become a penguin couple. They have fun together and they help each other out. When a female lays an egg, her partner takes turns with her sitting on the egg to keep it warm so it will hatch. When a baby penguin peeks out of its shell to be born, the two penguins become parents and they take care of the baby together. Well, Roy and Silo were partners. The zookeeper could see that they did everything together that the other penguin couples did. They talked to each other in penguin language. They swam together. They ate together. They would wrap their necks all around each other to show their affection. But one thing they did not do was lay an egg and take turns sitting on it. Only female penguins can lay eggs, and Roy and Silo were both males. The zookeepers could see that Roy and Silo wanted to be penguin parents, though. One time, a zookeeper saw that Roy and Silo were taking turns sitting on a rock. The rock was shaped like a penguin egg. Roy and Silo were keeping it warm so it would hatch. Of course, a rock would never hatch into a baby penguin. Then the zookeepers noticed another pair of penguins, one female and one male, and they had two eggs that they were desperately trying to keep warm at the same time. The zookeepers knew that this would be really hard for them to do, and they decided to give both of those penguin eggs a better chance to hatch into baby penguin, and at the same time give Roy and Silo a chance to become penguin parents. The zookeepers gave Roy and Silo one egg that needed to be kept warm. First, Roy sat on the egg, then Silo, and they took turns keeping it warm, just like the other penguin parents did. And finally, one day, Roy and Silo's egg began to hatch, and out popped a perfectly healthy baby girl penguin. Now, the zookeepers welcomed the new baby penguin with the name Tango. Now, a tango is a dance between two dancers. To dance a tango, the partners have to stand very, very close, and they have to understand in a very special way each partner's moves so that it looks lovely. When a tango dancers have a good partnership and they're dancing, it looks graceful and fluid and just beautiful. Kind of the way that Roy and Silo were such good penguin partners that they were good penguin parents. And it reminded those zookeepers of that beautiful dance called the tango. So after Tango was born, They raised her up, as all penguin parents do. They kept her warm. They brought her food in their beaks and they fed it to her. And in a few months, Tango was ready to do most things by herself. Her parents, Roy and Silo, had raised her very well. Now, as I'm thinking about this story, I wonder if some people think that they may not be good enough mothers or good enough humans to mother someone else. It might be a concern if they had that feeling in their heart. But the story of Silo and Roy assures me that if you try your best and have love in your relationship and you really want something, that you are on your way in the mothering department. What a lovely story. Perfect for Mother's Day. So please join me in singing our song of dedication. The words will be on your screen and also in the order of service. Happy Mother's Day.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with each other. Thus do we promise to each other.
Thank you for that wonderful story, Beth. I love it. I love that. I love penguins. They're wonderful. Well, now's our time to center and move into a time of meditation. So as visions of penguins mothering babies fades, allow yourself to find someplace comfortable to sit. Perhaps you even would like to lie down today. And as you do, feel free to close your eyes or have those soft eyes when you're just looking down and not looking at anything external. This is our time in the service where you are given full permission to go inside. So I invite you to take a few breaths as you do that now. And today, on this Mother's Day, I'm going to invite you to focus your breathing on your belly. If you're able, perhaps even go ahead and let your hands rest right over your navel, the seat of that place that connects us all as humans to our mothers. Allow the breath to be deep. Feel the belly rise as the breath comes in. And feel the belly contract and let go. Allow whatever feelings may arise for you from this act of being present to your belly. Allow those feelings to just be there. Just notice them. You may not have thought about your belly button at all today, or even this week. Now is your time to use the breath and feel that connection that lives very physically in your body. As we sit in this place, I'd like to share with you a blessing on Mother's Day by Maureen Killoran. In one way or another, each of you was born of a mother. Because we are human, it's likely that your relationship with mother is or will someday be challenging. If you identify as a woman, then it's almost certain that your connection with the matter of mothering is or was sufficiently complex that it's sometimes hard to explain. From the diversity of our lives, from the similarity of our hearts, let's receive this blessing. For all who never knew their mothers, and all who chose or were compelled to let their children drift away, we ask a blessing on this day. for all who long to hold their newborn in their arms of love, and all who faced a pregnancy with fear. We ask a blessing on this day. For all who struggle with the pain of their mother's increasing confusion, and all who feel the muddle growing in their own heads and seek to keep it from their parent or their child. We ask a blessing on this day. For all whose mothers never grew up and all whose mothers never learned to play, we ask a blessing on this day. For all who missed the chance to say, I love you, and all who long to say it now, but find ourselves afraid or unable. We ask a blessing on this day. For all who carry ancient wounds, infertility, abuse, misunderstanding, anger, grief, we ask a blessing on this day. For all who struggle with regret, we ask a blessing on this day. For all of you who breathe now deep into your bellies, feeling the profound and complex reality of mothering and being mothered, we ask a blessing for this day. Allowing those words to settle in your own belly. Perhaps the picture of your mother in your own mind's eye comes to you. May you feel blessed in this day, and may that relationship be blessed as well. As you are ready, take a deep inhale, breathing in the new day, and open your eyes. Remember Joseph Campbell's classic, The Hero with 1,000 Faces? It tells about this journey. It's a theory that Campbell came up with, looking at the ancient myths and looking at the archetype of a hero and the hero's journey, with the theory being that although the journeys are varied, there's some very clear similarities to the journey. The story begins often with this recognition that deep inside there is some godlike quality in the hero, but the hero doesn't know that yet. And then the story begins. Usually there's a call to the adventure, which is rejected at first, but then accepted. And then the journey begins. And through the journey, there are obstacles. The hero meets mentors. There are tests on many levels. They receive wisdom. They enter into a dark time. And in that, they discover this hidden strength that was dormant within them all along. And then through blood and sweat and tears, they finally transform spiritually, physically, emotionally, and return home to realize themselves as the hero of their own story. Now, I must say that I'm a little bit suspicious of Campbell's source material here, right? I mean, did he study all the myths to come up with that theory? Or did Joseph Campbell simply look at the life of a mother? Indeed, motherhood has many faces and many stages to its journey. I've noticed that as my children have gotten older, that much of the literature on motherhood seems to focus on those early years, and that's understandable, as those are the tender new years of the journey, the ones that are often fraught with many questions that we are still willing to ask. Why are they crying? If I blend up a banana, does it count as solid food or not solid food? Why does their poop smell like this? And of course, that wondering about how many languages should I teach my child by the time they're 3? There's questions galore. And embedded in this plethora of self-help mothering books can be the misunderstanding that motherhood is some skill to master. And it's just a matter of getting the correct technique and all will be well. Now, there is an argument to be made that there's skill and a certain mappable pathway involved in motherhood. Yet there remains the fact that motherhood is its own story that must be written anew by each and every mother as they go along the way, moment by moment. And sure, some chapters have similar titles like the OMG, I'm gonna be a mother, quickly followed by OMG, I'm a mother. Some chapters are gonna tell the story of simple joys like snuggle time and discovering butterflies. And there will be chapters of struggle with stories of sleep deprivation and bills to pay. Chapters on confusion and frustration as the ones so patiently nurtured figured out how to say just that perfect thing to cut directly into the insecurities of the one who nurtured them. I think that one deserves an amen, right, parents? There may be chapters of compassion as mothers watch tender hearts break for the first time, and chapters of worry that may be titled something like, who thought it was a good idea to give a 16-year-old a driver's license? Sorry, youth. And there will surely be chapter upon chapter titled Letting Go. You know, mostly it seems that a mother's journey is lined by letting go, by saying goodbye. We say goodbye to our babies as toddlerhood sets in, and to our elementary schooler when a preteen takes their place, only to say goodbye a few years later as we meet the teenager they have become. And one day we turn around and we find ourselves grieving just a little bit for those teen years where they lived with us, as we watch our children become young adults and quickly start to adult. and then perhaps even have children and families of their own. There's that chapter, the one that used to be called, "Would it be so hard to call your mother?" I think it's turned into, "Text me back, please." Right? Well, whether through birth or through adoption, through fostering, through marriage, or just plain good luck, becoming a mother can indeed be quite startling. One moment you are there, and the next there is this other being whose life seems to be intimately connected to your own. Perhaps all of the chapters we may write as mothers, the most dangerous one is that one where we fight the great demon of motherhood. From that first moment when the fetus or the new child enters the family, mothers are initiated into motherhood when they are visited by this demon who we rarely speak about, but whose presence follows us unrelentingly. It begins the first time our children cry and we can't figure out what we are doing wrong. I'm speaking of that secret chapter of the mother's journey called shame and self-doubt. Perhaps it's not even a chapter, but a subchapter to many chapters. It's the shame that we are or will become a bad mother, that we are somehow doing it all wrong. This is the most harrowing chapter we may write. It's one that Sue Clayborne's journey took her on, to the very center of. Now for Sue, it began on April 20th, 1999, when a heartbreaking, tragic event took place. It was an event that would change the lives of many and would send several mothers down the dark interior path of excavating their lives, wondering, what did I do wrong? Am I or was I a bad mother that caused this to happen? On that day, which I'm speaking of, it began like many others. Sue's son, Dylan, walked out the front door on his way to school and said one simple word, bye. Within hours, Sue received the message that there was a shooting occurring at her son's school, Columbine High. She would soon learn that her son Dylan and his best friend Eric had shot and killed 12 other students and a teacher and had wounded over 20 others before they took their own lives. In less than an hour, dozens of mothers and fathers and siblings and friends would have their worlds permanently altered. It was a horrific act. Many of us are aware of the events at Columbine, as well as those of Sandy Hook and Parkland and other places that have become the worst day in the life of a parent. Now, there's many paths we could explore looking at these events: teen violence, gun control, mental health, and cultural influences in violence. But today on Mother's Day, I want to focus on the part of the story interwoven into the mother's journey and into this myth that so many mothers share, that we are doing it or have done it all wrong. Over and over after the shooting, Sue recounts in lectures and stories that she shares, she recounts how she was asked over and over, how could you not know? What kind of mother were you? In her talks where she shares her story, she says that she asks that question again and again of herself. What kind of mother was I that I could have allowed this to happen? Her shame was palpable. Before the shootings, Sue shares that she always thought of herself as a good parent, a good mother, loving her children, helping them become healthy and caring and responsible adults. For years after the tragedy, she said she combed through the memories, trying to figure out where she had failed as a parent. I felt for a very long time, she says, that it must have been something I did. And I went back to ridiculous detail into our past as a family. And I remember at one point sobbing because when Dylan turned 3, I had only put sprinkles on his birthday cake. But when his brother had turned 3 prior to that, I had decorated the cake with icing. I was thinking that it must have been something like that where Dylan didn't feel equally loved. I know that sounds ridiculous, she says, but it's the kind of work that you do in your head when something like this happens. Sue's story struck me on many levels when I heard her speak, and I can only imagine what heartbreak and devastation she and the families of others lost to violence experience every day. Now, most of us will not experience what Sue has, but the part of her story that so many of us can relate to is that voice that wants to ask us with a sneer, what kind of mother are you being? What have you done wrong today? If you're like most mothers, you do this over and over again to yourself. I remember when my children were little and after a hard day where I must have yelled or I wasn't as loving as I had hoped I would be, I remember going to bed and just sobbing, feeling so bad about myself, feeling so bad that I had hurt these precious little ones that I loved, that I was somehow damaging them by my lack of being the perfect mother. Often I would comb through my memories and make a mental list of all the ways I had failed them that day. With the added pressures of working from home and homeschooling that many mothers and parents are facing right now, I imagine this self-criticism and perhaps even shame at not being what may be deemed a good parent may weigh heavy on some hearts. What I didn't know at the time as I judged myself was that the journey of motherhood cannot be defined in one moment or even 1 week or several months, and that no symbol of a perfect mother can define my story of motherhood. June Cleaver in her high heels, wearing pearls while she washes the dishes, always with a ready, wise word for Beaver and a snack and a balanced meal. She's not the archetype based on reality of motherhood. The archetype of the Virgin Mary, the mother who was so pure that even the mortal version of a conception was not done right or not enough. Even that archetype really doesn't serve us well if we try to use it as a judge of our own parenting or as a judge to our own lack of purity. Not to be sacrilegious toward this story, but haven't you at least once wondered what Mary was like as a mother? Somewhere there must be a painting, too bad there's not video back then, but there must be a painting of young Mary frantically dragging toddler Jesus through the marketplace saying, "For the last time, you cannot have the honey before dinner." Don't we all wish? Psychotherapist and mother Molly Layton reflected on her own journey of mothering and a moment of doubt. Perhaps you can relate to her words. She said, "The children grew like kudzu." Molly must be from the South, I am learning. She says, "The children grew like kudzu, changing so fast that I struggled always with mothering by hindsight, barely sizing up the situation as the child then quickly changed and metamorphosed into another being. I could not shake the anxiety that my faults were magnified in my children's character. As I watched them grow, it seemed inescapable to me that their own struggles were the fruit of my inadequacies as a human being and a mother. At my worst, I found myself growing more anxious as a mother, my heart so helplessly tied to my children's growth. Their blooming became what I demanded for my own survival as well. Be happy or I grieve. What a strange demand. Once, Molly says, a teacher spoke to me with disgust curling off her lip about how angry and helpless she felt with David, my son, whose work then did not match his brightness. I was so numb with guilt, she says, and hurt, that I stumbled away from the school, leaving behind another meeting I was supposed to attend, forgetting the car, and walking distractedly home. I have a feeling many mothers out there can relate to the feeling of shame Molly describes, or to Sue's fear of being a bad mother. Dear mothers, these are chapters in our journey, and sometimes subtexts to many chapters. But these moments of shame or fear, they do not need to define us and our journey of motherhood. Often on Mother's Day, we talk about the joy of mothering, and it does contain great joy. So let us honor the joy of mothering. And thank you, mothers, for your love and care. We honor all that you have brought to the journey of motherhood. And we all know that joy alone does not make the journey of the mother. And that whether mother or child, we deserve to have our entire journeys honored. All the parts of those journeys, even the really hard chapters. Mothers who have lost a child at any age, for any cause, you have experienced life-altering change, accompanied by a roller coaster of emotions. Your story of motherhood and the chapter of your grieving deserves recognition today. We honor you and your journey of motherhood. Mothers who are raising grandchildren, moms of choice, aunts and sisters and friends, are all part of the many faces of a mother's love. And we honor you and your journey of motherhood today. And mothers whose journey finds you now in the island of shame and self-doubt, we honor your journey today with a prayer that you can find your way through those feelings and uncover hidden strengths that lead you back home. The mother's journey is written in every language and across all of time. Yours and your mother's is a one-of-a-kind novel. Yours and your children is as unique as any of you and continues no matter what the circumstances. I'd like to end this Mother's Day service by recounting one of my favorite children's books about mothering. I bet you know it. It's titled Love You Forever by Robert Munsch. So the story begins with a mother rocking her newborn baby softly and singing, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And then the book proceeds and we watch the life of the little one unfold. And at each turn, whether the 2-year-old pulling the books off the shelf or the 9-year-old who never wanted to take a bath and said bad words when grandmother was around, or the teenager who did strange things, or when the child moved out of the house and across town, at each turn the mother would find the child, hold him in her arms and sing, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And then one day, in the book, the mother is really old, and the child comes to see her. She's too frail to rock her little boy, although she tries. And so he picks her up and takes her to a rocking chair and holds her. And he sings to her, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. If that's not a tearjerker enough, the book ends with the grown little boy going back home, picking up his own child who's laying in a crib, sitting down and rocking her and singing the song. I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The gift that we share as humans is the gift of the journey. All parts will not be hallmark moments, and yet all moments can be held with the mark of love and compassion. To my own mother and children, I say, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, precious to me you will be. May today's chapter of your journey of mother and child and its relationship, wherever the two of you are, whether it's in the same house or across death's door, may today bring you peace and the opportunity to continue your journeys together with deep compassion for each other. Blessed be and happy, happy Mother's Day. Please rise now as you are able and join in our closing hymn.
Sleep, my child, and peace attend you all through the night. I who love you shall be near you all through the night. Soft the drowsy hours are creeping, hill and vale in slumber sleeping. I my loving vigil keeping all through the night. Mother, I can feel you near me all through the night. Father, I know you can hear me all through the night. And when I am your age nearly, still I will remember clearly how you sang and held me dearly all through the night. While the moon her watch is keeping all through the night, while one half the world is sleeping all through the night, even while the sun comes stealing, visions of the day revealing, breathes a pure and holy feeling all through the night.
The vision of this congregation is to be a beacon of peace, justice, and love. This vision is embodied here, not just in words, but in each and every one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, resources, and intention. Together, we make a community. We hope that you will share the joy and responsibility of being stewards to this vision through a monetary contribution to the congregation. The methods for sharing are displayed on your screen right now. We thank you for sharing in the stewardship of our vision.
Thank you for joining us once again to sustain and celebrate our beloved community. We are so glad you join us. And the fun has only just begun. Please join us at 11 o'clock for our very first ever virtual open mic to celebrate Mother's Day and really just to celebrate being together. All the information on how to click in, it is on a Zoom call. It's in the order of service, so just check that out and please join us. Bring a song, bring a poem, bring a story, or just bring your lovely selves to support others. I hope to see you there. So please go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts out into the world until we are together again.